Annitori quckshifter system. P08 air filter, M4, very stout. Is he running a can? Oh, this mother. Oh, stupid. Let me rephrase that.
This sounds ridiculous!
What's up, guys? So today we have a 2014 Suzuki Hayabusa N, and we're gonna go through a little bit of a transformation with this bike. It is a 2014, like we stated. It does have a chain and sprocket kit. It looks like a Vortex steel kit, and I believe, yeah, so he is still on a 530 chain and a 530 sprocket set. I'm not sure on the gearing. We haven't really gone that far yet. The main thing that I wanted to point out here is that we are running dual slip-ons. This is a Hot Bodies Megaphone, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a dual system. So he's still retaining the stock headers, which retain the OEM catalytic converter. There's the stock headers. You can still see them in there. There's me, hi. And yeah, so, and I believe he's on a stock air filter, and I think he thinks that as well. To his knowledge, he did buy this off an individual. He is the second owner of this bike. This thing is beautiful. I love the paint scheme on this thing. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do our usual. We're gonna go ahead and baseline the bike, and we're gonna start going through it. We're gonna look at the air-fuel ratio. We're gonna look at the horsepower, look at the torque. We're gonna see what this thing's producing currently. So we have a full M4 GP19 stainless system. It's, I believe it's something a little newer that M4 has made. And it's pretty sharp, it's a cool looking little pipe. It's a shorty style. And I haven't seen a lot of shorty styles for the Gen 2 Busa. So this is gonna be very, very interesting. And for those of you who don't know, Gen 2 generation, second generation Busa, goes from 2008 all the way up to, shit, what is it, 2020? And in 2021, they went out with the Gen 3s. It's either 21 or 22. I don't remember exactly. I believe it's 21 though, when they came out with the Gen 3. So, but it's a big, big, big gap. It's a huge, huge timeline that they stuck with these Gen 2s. They're very stout, very strong bikes. I'm really curious to see what this thing's gonna make with just the slip-ons and the stock air filter. So what we're gonna do is, again, we're gonna swap out the M4, the GP19 system, and then we have a Sprint P08 air filter that we're gonna put in there. And the last thing is he wants us to install an Annitori quckshifter system. We're gonna install these components, the exhaust, the filter, and the quckshifter, and we'll re-baseline it with the GP and the air filter, the Sprint P08. We'll re-baseline it, and then we'll go through with the full ECU flash and dyno tune process so you can see the different levels. Again, we're very transparent. We wanna show you everything from start to finish and exactly what you're gonna get. The client was in today dropping off this bike, and he actually notified us. He's like, man, I looked and I looked and I looked, and I cannot find this stuff on the internet anywhere. I can't see a sound clip. I don't see any dyno runs. I don't see anything related to this M4 GP19 system. He likes to be a little different, so he's like, man, I'm so happy that you guys are doing this, because again, I cannot find anything. And he asked us specifically, could you please make a YouTube video? I think it'd be really cool for all those people out there who are interested in the system and who don't have that sound clip and they don't have a video on it. So here we are. And if you're like him, please share this to a friend, comment down below, let us know what you think about it. And hopefully we don't disappoint. Without further ado, let's get started, and let me get this thing warmed up so we can baseline it, all right? We just got done running this thing on the stock headers with the Hot Bodies Megaphone, the slip-ons. So here are the results of the Busa with the stock header, with the Hot Bodies Megaphone, slip-ons, and the stock air filter. We laid out 167 wheel horsepower with 99 foot-pounds of torque. Not too bad. However, look at this. This was very, very interesting. We're running pig rich, dumping fuel in the system. 12.0, 10.8, good God, this thing is drinking. Yeah, so 10.8 air fuel, that's insanely rich. We don't run any bikes, even turbo, nitrous, supercharged, it doesn't matter. We don't run any of them at 10.8. That's just stupid amounts of fuel getting ran into there. 11.7, 11.5. I mean, again, I can go down this whole power band and it's not even remotely close. So it's going to be very interesting to see whenever we install this this M4, this GP19 system, where it's very interesting to see how much it's going to lean out. Now, take a look down here, and this could be based on airflow, but we're actually running pretty lean, 14.8. I don't like to run this lean, even down low. I don't like to run it that lean. I like to have it a little richer than this, just so we can get a much snappier throttle, responsive, snappy. I don't know what you want to call it, but just a much like crisp, very crisp throttle. Very like a 1-to-1 ratio. In other words, you snap that throttle, you give it some throttle, and it basically wants to get up and go, not doesn't have any kind of lag to it. At 14.8, we're going to experience some lag right in there. 14.9, yeah, 14.8, 14.9 almost. So, and then take a look at this. Look at the torque curve. It comes up as we roll onto the throttle, and it flatlines. But look at this, it actually falls off a little bit. See how it kind of dips down and then it picks back up? That's one thing that we're gonna try to eliminate with the new pipe here. We're gonna try to smooth this out to where we don't have any torque loss, and we basically flatline and then pick up, and we don't have any actual loss. So look, just to prove it, we're at 88.9, and then look right here, we're at 88.1. So it's not like we lose a ton of torque, but we're still losing torque. And the goal is to not lose anything, is to gain and not lose any of that. So whenever you're losing torque and everything, that's what makes that throttle feel laggy. So I'm sure around this 5,000 to 6,000 mark, it's probably feeling a little laggy for the rider, and I'm sure he's not enjoying it. And then even up here, we even have this little kind of a dead spot here, another one kind of here where the power band stops pulling linear, and then it kind of flatlines and then pulls again, flatlines, pulls again. So whenever you see stuff like that in the power band, it kind of makes for a kind of a slouchy power band, more or less. You know, you want it more linear. You want it to keep climbing without any drops or any plateaus. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna pull it off the dyno, we're gonna throw it on the lift, we're gonna start getting some fans on it and everything, start cooling it down. And we'll go through the process. We're going to pull the tank so we can install the quick shifter stuff, and we're also going to start pulling the exhaust. So we'll start swapping that out, and then we'll get it back on the dyno here soon, and we'll do another baseline and go through it all over again and start tuning it. All right. All right, guys, so we finally got the stock header off along with the Megaphone, Hot Bodies Megaphone slip-ons. Another thing I wanted to point out real quick, we noticed he had a K&N oil filter, and not to say anything bad about K&N, however, we highly recommend that you don't run these. They've been having issues in the past with the seals breaking, and also I had a seal pop on me here, actually, where it butts up against the engine casing. So we normally like to run the OEMs or high flows. They work best in our personal opinion. So again, that's what we recommend that you swap out to. What we're gonna do real quick for you guys, just like in the other videos, we're gonna weigh this stock system real quick just to show how much weight savings that you get whenever you swap these things out. 18.4 pounds, almost 18 and a half pounds just with this stock system. Now, look, I want to point this out. These are slip-ons and they're pretty small. It's not like we have the stock mufflers, which is who knows how much, probably another 20 pounds just for the stock cans, but 18.4 pounds. And what we're going to do next, we're going to finish assembling the M4 system. And once it's fully assembled, we'll actually weigh those in next too, so that way you can see it. Oh, look at that. Oh wait, let me get on the other side of you anyway. All right, here it is. 11.6 pounds. So what do we got, about a 7-pound weight saving just between those two systems? That's incredible, actually. 7 pounds. And this still has the baffle, the silencer in that pipe. So we're gonna pull that out also. We'll weigh that out also, but I think it's only about a pound or so. But either way, it adds up. Everything adds up. So we're gonna do that. We also need to install the Sprint PO8 air filter as well as the quick shifter. Now, The quick shifter is gonna actually, so this style quick shifter, the client ordered an Annitori. So what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna take off this OEM shift rod, and this whole thing is gonna get replaced with the Annitori. It's got a strain gauge and then a little rod that we're gonna, that goes all together. So we have to assemble it, and then we're gonna install that, and then it runs up to the coils and it piggybacks off the coils to interrupt the signal in order to give you that shift, that engine kill to shift. All right, guys, so we actually talked to the owner on this bike, and we did end up doing an oil change. So we did put a brand new OEM Suzuki filter, and we have X-Star full synthetic oil in here, which is the OEM Suzuki oil. Here it is right here. So we went ahead and filled it up. We also wanted to do a sound check real quick with the new M4 exhaust. This is the M4 GP19, I believe, exhaust system. So, sorry, we're just kind of picking up a little bit real quick before we do this. All right, go ahead, Lewis. Let's crank it on real quick and give the people what they want. Now that it's warmed up a little bit. Sounds awesome. Love that sound. And then it's dyno time.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey. You know what I'm saying? Let me just one time. Whoa. Can't make a promise, but I do my best. 25 cent, not 25 racks. Just got started, no, we ain't done yet. But a new crib, that's a goddamn flex. Sign that check. Told them last year that I've been up next. Can't take calls, but I send that text. From way downtown, but the shit's still wet. Yeah, it's a guarantee. Can't get a city, man, they knowing that it's me. Ain't damn near still doing double E's, cause it ain't that hard. I'm talking about me. Me and my friends. Told them I get what I want. Getting my money up front. I do not do this for fun. So I make him.
Okay, guys, so we finally got this Busa all dialed in, and take a look at these pipes real quick before we go over the numbers. Tell me this doesn't look beautiful. That is one thing that I will pride myself on, and here at this shop is making sure that when we do an install, we make it look clean. It's nice and smooth. The color tone is even throughout. That's what we love to see. Look at this. Now, this right here, by the way, in case any of you guys are wondering, this is where the stock O2 sensor, one of them, this is where they come out and they plug into there. Given that we've flashed and tuned this bike now, we don't have to run the O2 sensor, so we unplug them and just cap off the holes. Again, look at this color. This is beautiful. I hope this is coming out as good as I'm seeing it. Now, the exhaust is still pretty warm. We're gonna wait a little bit before we pull this out. We're gonna end up putting a cap in here as well. M4 sends a little stainless cap that goes in that bung. And now again, this is all ceramic coated, and so this isn't really gonna change any colors, obviously, but still, needless to say, this color change is beautiful. Man, that looks good. No fingerprint smudges, no blotches, just nice, smooth tones of color. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Here's what everyone's been waiting for, the numbers. So the green line here is the baseline run. The blue line is the Sprint P08 air filter and the full M4 exhaust installed. And then the red line is the final tune numbers. So on this one, we do opt to extend the rev limiter out just a hair, about 500 RPM over stock. So that way, because again, it kind of plateaus, so we want to utilize that power band as much as possible. So if we look up top here, we'll just pick this point up here up top. We're at 10,000 RPM. We have a stock number of 167.5 horsepower. And with the M4 and Sprint installed, we hit 174. So gain about 7 wheel. And then after the tune, we hit 181 wheel horsepower. We actually did 182 on another run. However, the clutch is starting to slip on this bike, so the graph kind of looked a little skewy, so I opted not to show it. So anyway, you can get the general idea here though. 167 over 181, that's a difference of 14 wheel horsepower gain. That's pretty substantial for a bike like this. Actually, look at this mid-range. This mid-range is pretty stout too. Here's 5250. fun little fact for everybody out there. Your horsepower and your torque line always cross at 5250. If you've ever wondered, that's where they that's actually where they cross at. Here we are at 5228, 5250s right there. And if you notice, that's right where these points are crossing. So anyway, if we take that 5250 mark right around here and we look at some of these differences, so we're at 88 foot-pounds of torque and 88 horsepower. Obviously, they're going to be the same. So that was stock, and then we're going to do, let's see, exhaust installed, 99. Damn. So we gained 11 wheel horsepower and 11 foot-pounds of torque at 5250 just from installing the exhaust. That in an air filter. That's incredible. Now, if we looked at the tune, we're at 101, so we picked up an additional 2 over just installing the exhaust and the air filter. So if you look here at the 5250 mark, we actually had gains of about 13 wheel horsepower and 13 wheel torque between stock with the slip-ons and the M4 Sprint P08 air filter combo and the ECU flash and dyno tune. So massive gains right here in the mid-range. Now again, this is a very common area that people are going to spend, so that he should be spending. So this is going to be a huge gain right here that he's going to be thrilled about all of this right here. So and now the air fuel ratios, we'll look down here. This was the OEM header with the slip-ons and the stock air filter. And as you recall here, it's just running pig rich, just dumping fuel into the system. It again, we're at the 11.7 all the way down to 10.9 air fuel ratios, which is just, again, it's just pig rich. We're just dumping so much extra fuel that's unneeded. So with the install of the exhaust and air filter, it actually got a little lean. It's not nothing too crazy. It's just a little lean here. And actually all right here, we have a nice clean air fuel ratio. And then it starts to get rich, 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 and then gets pretty rich up top here. So we're still hitting AFRs at 12.3, 12.4 down to 12.2 air fuel ratios with that install. So there's another 12.2 for you right here at 9,000 RPM. So again, it still goes pretty rich even with the exhaust and air filter, which again, it's a little surprising. Normally these bikes like to run lean. So we're finding out though that a lot of them are running rich from the factory, which is dumping excess fuel. Again, this is excess fuel that it's unneeded. This is just overly rich. And then now with the ECU flash and dyno tune, we'll highlight this one. We're actually running pretty smooth now along this whole line. Now up here it did get a little on the leaner side, and again that last run we fattened it up. We added a little bit more fuel up top here. We added about another 3-4%. So we went, and this is 13.5, which is, again, that's a little on the leaner side. I don't like it that lean. I did add some excess fuel into there so that way we can enrich in that, so we're not going to run as lean. And the rest of this is pretty much spot on. So we'll minimize this here, and again, here's the overall graph. It looks great. I'm very happy with it. Again, here's the final numbers here. We went from 167.5 wheel horsepower to 174, almost 175 horsepower. And then now we're at 181, basically 182, 182 wheel horsepower. So very, very big gains. You know, we're talking about 14 to 15 wheel horsepower gains, peak versus peak, and which is very impressive. Very, very happy. Here's our wheel torque, and we're at 99.5 all the way up to 104, almost 105, and now we're at 108, almost 109 foot-pounds of torque. So very impressive, very happy with these gains. As always, I want to say thank you guys. Without your support, again, this wouldn't be possible. If you've liked this video, please give us a like, give us a comment, subscribe to the channel. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner of the video, you'll actually see our little logo, our little Proven Power logo. And if you click on that, you can actually subscribe to the channel with that. It's pretty cool that we've added in there. Thank you, Seth. We just wanted to say again, thank you. Leave a comment, like, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. We'll see you on another episode, all right?